Welcome back. It's Jerry with the Happy Hootie here again. My wife was mopping the floor today and she almost cut her foot on this gnarly looking gash in our wood floor. Oh my gosh, it makes me so upset whenever we have these beautiful wood floors and somebody took a little chunk out of it by throwing a toy across the house or had a rock on their shoe and took a chunk out of the floor. Come have a look at this thing. What we've got here is a pretty gnarly gash that's about the size of a fingernail in this floor, and it's about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch deep. It went really deep on this one, but the depth of it doesn't bother me as much as it does has these sharp edges like that can get caught on kids' feet or their toe and cut them, and so I can't have that. Let me show you a couple of them I've already fixed, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to fix this one. Whenever you've got natural wood floors, you're going to have some areas that have some knots and things like it, and that's kind of what happened with this one. It had a knot, and that knot started to pop. I have a couple of areas that had to cut into it, and went ahead and just cut into it and filled those. And now that they're filled and smooth, you can see they're indented a little bit, but they're not going to hurt anybody. They're not going to cut anything, and it kind of just adds some more character to your wood floor. Some materials I'm going to be using to fix our little gash friend here is going to be a razor knife. I'm going to be using a little foam brush. If I had a smaller one, I would. I actually may end up using one of my kids' little paint brushes, but I may just cut this little foam brush down. Sandpaper is optional to kind of hit around the edges. I'm going to be using it just right around the edges to kind of blend this in and to make sure that there's nothing that's going to be sticking up once I get done with my knife. And then lastly, the most important thing is you're going to have some kind of an interior finish with a polyurethane included in it, so a stain and polyurethane combination. The first thing we're going to do is just using our knife and just barely stick it out past the end, and this is a razor knife, this is sharp. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to kind of carve out any of the stuff that is loose in there like that and try to hit down that edge just a little bit to where it's not going to catch. So if there's anything in there loose, I'm going to go ahead and get it out of there. Once you have it down where you think you're not going to catch anything anymore because it's got all that loose stuff, you can go ahead and blow into that gouge and make sure that you've got all that out of there. Then it's going to be time to take a little piece of sandpaper. I'm not sure that it really matters what kind of grit that you have on this sandpaper, but just a small piece of sandpaper, because what we're trying to do is not affect the rest of the surrounding floor. Just want to get just right in here in this area to get those edges with that sandpaper just a little bit. So that way we're not having to worry about refinishing our entire floor here. We're just wanting to focus on the one little spot that has the problem. Now that we've got it all roughed up and we've got it then sanded down, we've cut all that extra out of there, I can run my fingers over this any direction I want to, and it's not going to cut me or catch anything, so I know that it's going to be safe for kids, mops and so forth. But now we've got to seal it, and we've got to make it look better, and we've got to fill it in. Okay, there's a few different ways that you can use to fix this. The easiest way, if you had a gouge in your floor that's not very deep and you want to do it quick, you can go out and buy one of these wood finish markers that actually has stain inside of there that you can push down on the tip, and you can just touch up the one little area. The problem that I have with this when doing a gouge in a floor is if you're going to be mopping it or you're going to be using kind of water or any kind of cleaner on the floor, this doesn't have any kind of a sealer in it. So it's great for furniture, not so good for floors. I mean, it will work, and in a pinch, boom, it's done. Once you've prepped it like this, I could hit it with the pen like this. It's a stain that's close to this hickory stain that's in this, and it would make it a lot less visible, and you would not be able to tell really that it's there, but it's not going to be fixed good enough for me. Now, you can also go out and buy a 2-part wood epoxy. I think Elmer's has a product that they sell at Lowe's and Home Depot that you can mix up a little bit of stuff and put it in there, smear it around, and then sand over the top and stain it. But again, you're dealing with buying additional products, and when you get that epoxy anywhere on the outside of your floor and having to sand it, then you're going to run the risk of sanding down other parts of your floor, and you're going to have to worry about refinishing parts of your floor. I don't think that it's going to work as well. What I have found works the best, that I end up using, takes a little bit longer, but it's a super simple process, and that is just using a stain and polyurethane product like this one to basically fill this with the stain and the polyurethane. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that on there and put a little hair dryer on it, or if you've got time, just let it sit overnight if you're not going to be in a traffic pattern or anything. And then we're going to give it a few coats of that, and that will build the depth up with the polyurethane and the color that'll darken in and make it look really good. And then it will be sealed, and you don't have to worry about the water damage. So I'm going to pop the top of this and put the first coat on. When using the stain and polyurethane all in one product, it's good to have a little piece of tissue paper or paper towels with you, because you're going to end up wiping off the excess that gets onto your floor. I cut this down because I was just going to use the corner edge of this cheap brush, and my daughter loaned me one of her paint brushes. I told her it probably was going to get thrown away when we're done, and she didn't care because she's got a bunch of them. So this is a small enough one. I'm just going to use this. I've got this stirred up real well. And this one here is a Brandywine floor polyurethane and stain all in one finish. And it will not be as dark as some of the others, but what I'm going to do is just go ahead and fill this with this stain and polyurethane, getting it all up on the edges. It's already looking better. Let me get you in closer so I can film this. Again, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and fill this with this polyurethane stain, and it will settle down into that spot. Okay, you remember where it was? No? Okay, it was right there. And that, after running it with hair dryer over about 15 minutes, get down in here. It has sunk down into, there you go, into the floor, and it's already starting to take the color of the rest of this. Now, I'd like to fill it a little darker and get this edge a little bit better. So I'm going to try something different that I haven't tried before. So with this next layer, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to go ahead and take some of this, and I'm going to put it in a cup. And then with this in the cup here, I got a little bit in there, I'm actually going to take a permanent marker and bend it and squeeze it and put a few drops of permanent marker in there to kind of darken it up just a little bit. You got your mixture that's a custom mix that you just did a polyurethane and got a few drops of your Sharpie in there. I'm going to go ahead and save that in a bag. I've got a little Ziploc here, and just put it in here where it won't fall over, and put it in your refrigerator. I believe that what I've got on there now is going to be fine, but if for some reason it really settles enough and I'm like, I really would like to have another coat, you can pull this out, let it get up to room temperature, and go ahead and use that before you throw that away, because you won't be able to match it again. It has sat overnight, and I had my kids come in and look for the divot, and they couldn't tell the difference between marks there on the floor and our actual mark here on the floor. And if you're just walking through here, you would never notice that that's the little mark right there. If you get in here close and look, it did settle down. It is down there just a little bit. Not enough that I'm going to add another coat to it, I don't think. It doesn't catch anything. And you would never notice because it looks the same as the rest of these marks in the floor, like that one there. Thank you so much for stopping by with us today to make this repair. Again, I'm Jerry with the Happy Hootie. If you found this video helpful, please feel free to like and subscribe. We would love to hear from you in the comment section below, and we'll see you again next time.